let's talk about this other story, man. There's a lot of stories here that's pissing me off tonight. I don't know if I want to even finish. We might stop early. We might stop early so I can just go home and chill, because this is insane. Here's a story coming out of Georgia of a black man who was found not guilty of armed robbery, but the judge in the decision overruled the decision of the jury, and sentenced him to 7 years behind prison. Ramad, on your screen, you'll see Ramad Chapman. He turned himself in to police once he discovered that they were looking for him. He turned himself into police because he was already on probation for a petty crime, previous petty crime. He was on probation. And so once he realized that he had somehow become a suspect in an armed robbery case, he volunteered himself and turned himself in. As he got closer to trial, he realized that, you know, there's nothing that he could really do. And so he attempted to enter a plea, which he did not admit guilt, but it would prevent them from having a trial. The judge rejected that, and so he went to trial. The jury found him not guilty. And the judge overruled and sentenced him to 7 years, 7 years behind jail. The Chapman, who is 24-year-old, he was already on a 5-year probation. The judge decided that he likely did commit the armed robbery. As a result, he was resentenced to his original time, which was over stealing a television. So there was no evidence. I'm trying to absorb this as I give it to you. There was no evidence ever found linking Chapman to the crime. But as a result of the judge overruling the jury, I mean, even when you finally get a jury of your peers who can look at the evidence and say, actually, we don't think he's guilty, the judge overruled it and said, nope, I think he's guilty. This is our American justice system. I don't know if I have a whole lot to say about this that I've not already said time and time again. But this is clear cut. I mean, we have so many examples where we have video evidence of police officers killing unarmed black people who were going the opposite direction or had their hands up. We have video evidence of this, and they were found not guilty by a jury of their peers, right? And not a single case would you ever find a judge overruling that and sentencing, yes, the police officer to prison. But here we have a case in Georgia where the exact opposite happened. You have a black man who voluntarily turned himself in because he knew he was innocent. And the jury also agreed that he was innocent, but the judge said, no, it's probably likely that he did this. These are the types of injustices that we are privy to every single day. And I don't know if there are any words that are worth trying to put together to explain this any differently. It's clear. It's obvious. You should understand this. If you don't understand it, if you don't see it, it's because you don't want to see it. It's because you intentionally do not want to understand it, because you do not want to have to grapple with the reality that the American justice system is not set up for people of color, marginalized people, or minorities. It's set up to protect the system. It's set up to protect the people who built it on the backs of minorities. And if you don't see it by now, after example, after example, and example, and after example, if you don't see it, it's simply because you don't want to see it. And so there are no amount of words that I can string together into a coherent sentence to convince you, because you never would believe it in the first place.